I'm so glad that you could join with me today. I'm going to pull a few cards for the collective. It'll be a little bit random as usual. If you're looking for some more personal guidance, feel free to reach out. That guidance is by a donation basis, so I'm more than happy to help regardless of what position that you find yourself in. Ooh, okay. So we've got a little bit of a love reading here right off the bat. Let's address our Mother of Swords, because typically when this card comes up, the first thing I think about is that she's misbehaving a little bit. She can be a little bit snippy and feisty at times, but in here I'm feeling that she's finally feeling that it's her time. She's been through a lot, and if this is speaking to you, I implore you to stick around for a minute, because especially if you've been burned in love, if you've had a lot of occurrences in your life that have made it difficult for you to trust, if you've not had good examples of love in your life, if you've seen other individuals disrespecting their partners, being just downright cold and uncaring, and it just kind of turned you away from like the possibility of it ever being real for you, this message is for you. We have a lot of connection to family here. So there is something here. You have history with this individual that's coming forward for you in love. Either this is something that you've been struggling with this individual over a long period of time, or there was just a big separation period. There was a break in between, and it just wasn't working. They're coming back from the past. They have a lot of energy towards reconciliation. They realize that actually you may have had a good point, which is going to be really surprising to a lot of us. Especially, she's a sharp one. She already knew it was coming. She kind of already felt it was coming. She knew it wasn't done. It wasn't right. Something didn't fit right, but it happened anyway. And she's just had to move on with her life. She's like, I'm not going to sit around and wait for you to figure it out. Goodbye. Whatever. But something's clicked, especially today on this day of all days. It seems something has clicked, and they're trying to figure out how they can come forward and make amends with you. They know it can't be superficial, it can't be half-hearted. This has got to be real. It's a one and done shot. Either you do it right or it's not going to happen. So you've got a lot of history with this individual, and it may even stem back way back. For some of you, it's just a history that you just couldn't get out of your mind. You just couldn't quite shake it, as much as you don't want to think about that person that pop in your head far too often. So you try to push yourself away, and yet they're right there. So they've definitely got some feelings of remorse, or at the very least they want to try to reconcile with you. I think they know that you don't need an apology, but I'm feeling that some of them are going to come forward with an apology for how they treated you, even that's not something that you've ever asked of them, or that you've ever said it's a requirement to reconcile. They finally figured it out in their head. I'm getting like a 7 to 14 days. It's like a weird, like a business time frame, but in the next 7 to 14 days, I feel like a lot of you are going to be hearing from this individual in a much more intentional way. There does feel like there's a little bit of signs coming in that they're there, that they're watching, that they're trying to keep an eye on things. They've been monitoring for a while, but there's definitely that. So that connection is pulling forward. Now, I'm getting very strongly these two tie together. So we've got this finally this sign of like truly mutual love, beginning of something that is different than what it was before. This is not the kind of we're just seeing where it goes. They realize they have to come in with a commitment. This is, we're not going to do this back and forth. We're not doing a situationship. We're not dating again, like dating, even though there was no dates involved. You're getting the hotel room significance. Like you're just like, I'm not doing that again with you. That doesn't mean that it's not something in your future, like you're taking a vacation or you're deciding to get a room together, but Getting that there was like a lot of very kind of casual meetups that this person tried to claim didn't mean anything but meant a lot. So that real love is finally, they're finally feeling it and understanding in their heart. It's kind of always been you for them. They've never really been able to let go of it. Now for you, the power of this love is something that you've been waiting for. You've been really, you're willing to just be alone and not settle, because you know that there's something so much more significant there. You knew that it was real and you had to let go of it. And that took a very special kind of strength. They didn't expect you could do that. They did not expect that you could just let go like that. They thought you were gonna, pine and hang on, or if you had been doing that, even if you had held out for a long, they figured it would just keep going. Or if they thought you were the type of person that was just going to go jump into another person's bed and be like, all right, fine, I can't have you, then I want this. Because they kept thinking that your actions were based on desperation and necessity, and your actions were based on real feelings that they were denying. You're like, no, I wanted this for real, because for me, it was real. And when you didn't reciprocate and you said, no, that's not what it is, and you pulled away, I didn't turn around and go find somebody to replace you. I stepped back and I said, all right, well, I'm going to go back to doing what I was doing. I was at peace and I was fine and I was happy, and I'm not going to settle, because if I can feel that way about this person who doesn't reciprocate, I'm going to hold on to that until I get that reciprocation. I'm not going to keep giving it away. No, I wasn't giving it away before. I'm not going to give it away now. So they mistook you. They thought you were the other type. They picked the wrong. They thought they had the one. They thought they were going to find that better situation. They didn't. They didn't find that better situation at all. And meanwhile, you're just demonstrating over and over to them that you always were that consistent, solid, hold it down one. You were the one that laid it out for them. You're the one that made them feel stuff they couldn't forget. They couldn't let it go. And the power behind this connection is really intense. It's just so incredible. Now, it's not always going to be easy. Love is two people healing together for each other, for themselves, to be better partners. And they've had to do some work to get to this point. This wasn't something easy for them. This has taken a long time for them to get to this point. You probably thought they weren't even capable of it, and but they've been mirroring your connection this whole time. Once they realized it was there, they started to mirror this connection and started to feel the significance of what it is that you had to offer that no one else had ever offered to them. So when they come in with this, honor and respect that as well. Like, stay consistent, stay who you are. Make sure that you're showing them that, like, you respect what they're doing, that it's not insignificant to you, that when they do come forward to you, that you know how much it took them to do that, because it takes a lot for people to admit that they were wrong about you, that they didn't have it the way that they thought they did, and they were scared. They were scared of the connection because they'd never felt something so deep before. So they ran, thinking that they could just find you everywhere else. And what they found is that everything else reminded them of how much more you were, and how you made them feel, and how much of an influence and an impact you had on their life, however short that connection was. It was a big, powerful one. So they've done a lot of work. Let's support them in that, so that you can carry on that healing journey together. It's really beautiful. Really beautiful. Loving to see that connection there. So back to being able to shuffle properly. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. So we've got some really beautiful cards here. We've got our Healing the Heart, which we just talked about that with the tarot cards, and we've got this Death and Rebirth. So this connection here is a consistent effort to move into that healed space, to move into that place of being comfortable, being content, being able to find joy and glimmers of beautiful things and beautiful moments, even in the difficulties. And that has resulted in you becoming an entirely new person. It's not like you were there and now you're here. This is an evolution of, you have worked on issues that broke you, that damaged you, that took you to a very dark place, that had you behaving in a way that was not becoming to you, that was not something that you were proud of. And you maybe even spent a very long time indulging in these toxic behaviors and these energies, and realizing that you had ended up with a bunch of relationships and connections with individuals who kind of were at that same vibrational level. But something just didn't sit right with you the whole time. It was always kind of shoulda, coulda, woulda. I wish I had done this. I wish this hadn't happened to me, because that changed me. And realizing that the power was within you to take that energy and to say, this does not define me, but I can make it a pivotal moment for me. I can create this. I used to be, but now I'm kind of a moment for me. And the only person that can do that is going to be you. You have the opportunity to look at your life with some perspective that was shared with you, that was bestowed upon you, not necessarily in a friendly way. I'm getting, for some of you, it was pretty brutal. And there was definitely rock bottom moments. There was some situations that made you wonder if it was worth you continuing, and then recognize that you don't know what tomorrow brings. But if you want it to be a better tomorrow, you have to take the action that's required to make those changes. And so you embarked upon your healing journey. You decided that this is what you needed in your life. And there was an entire rebirth for you. And I'm getting, for a lot of you, that it's been fairly recent, that you've really fully awakened to your true potential and the nature of who you are and what it is that you deserve, and have just been really embracing this new you. And you're demanding that the people around you either honor this new you, or they take that energy somewhere else. You're just not going to continue to pretend for the sake of someone else's comfort. You're not biting your tongue because somebody else thinks that the old you would have put up with that, or would have thought that was funny. And it used to be that you would, you would kind of, ha ha ha, yeah, me too. But now you're at that point where you're just like, that's not funny. That's not who I am anymore. I don't want this. That's not how I would respond. I don't feel like you know who I am anymore. And there are people that become very resentful about your evolution and your growth, because they themselves haven't embarked upon this healing journey. They haven't made any efforts to do so. And so they look at you, and there is, this negative energy about what it is that's occurred. But you feel so much better about who you are and where your life is headed, and all the peace that you've cultivated for yourself. You don't care. Just go ahead. You can say what you want to say, and you can do what you want to do. It's not my problem anymore. We've got our let it shine. So this, again, just kind of validating you, that who you're becoming and who you've worked to become, all the elevation that you've worked from, the alchemy of the difficulties, overcoming the expectations that others had on you, that you mistakenly took in as defining you, and set limitations for who you were. It's just not anymore. This is a new level. This is a spiritually connected, grounded person who feels with a pure heart, who feels and welcomes individuals who are authentically shining as themselves. This is the connections that you want. This is what's coming forward. I'm getting that there's a little bit of a feeling as though, you know, I hope that there's a connection out there still for me, that the relationships that I've destroyed, the relationships that I've outgrown are not going to be able to be replaced. And while that's true, because you're a new person, you're at a different place now, Spirit's just reminding you that there is a whole wealth of connections and beautiful experiences and individuals out there that want to share their lives with you, that they were maybe watching you become who you are, and just to see if this was something that felt right for them and maybe even inspired them. And then it gets to this point where they're like, I want to be connected to this individual as well. And as you shine, as you radiate all of that energy, the universe is sending you even more of these connections. It's going to be really important for you to make sure that you get out there, continue to speak your truth, and you continue to use your voice in these authentic ways so that these individuals know how to find you. But there are so many beautiful connections and experiences waiting for you. It's just about being open and putting yourself out there. Trust that it's different now. It's not the same as it was. So there's a lot to be excited about. So much in this cycle, so much has opened up for you in this heart-centered phase in your life, that it does feel brand new, and it almost is a little bit confusing that maybe it's not like that, but it is. This is your validation for that. There's more. There's so much more. There's so much more for you. Getting this very, you don't know me. You don't know me. You don't know who I am. I wish that you would take time to get to know who I am. I wish that you would stop trying to identify me by a person that I haven't been in 2 decades. Or even 1 decade, or even 5 years, even if it's just been 2 years that you've been on this journey. I keep pulling out this energy of, stop trying to meet me at the place that you met me the first time. Like, come and meet me now, right now, right now. I have gone through all of this nasty stuff, and I don't live there anymore. This isn't a piece of who I am anymore, and it's not fair for you to think that I'm the same person after enduring all that, especially when you weren't there to support me in all that. I went through this difficulty myself. I climbed through the muck myself. And people, there's always going to be people, well, I was there. You weren't, though, because I wouldn't feel that way. I wouldn't have felt like I was alone going through that if you were actually there. But what I'm actually getting is that these people kind of have this sense of control or ownership over you, and they like to use these down times to manipulate the situation. They like to take your past and kind of shove it back in your face, but that's who you used to be. It's cruel. It feels awful. And it's these are the kind of connections that just absolutely make us want to burn it all down. I will start over from nothing before I will tolerate being treated like that again. I will absolutely not deal with the disrespect. You're not going to continue to talk to me like I'm 15 years old, like I'm 30 years old. I'm nowhere near that place anymore. I'm not a child. The person that you thought I was doesn't exist anymore because you left that person to die. That person died. That person, that victim, that person that couldn't survive, that couldn't do it on their own, they died. They don't exist. And what you have in your place is somebody who is willing to start it all on fire and let it go. I don't need any of it. You want to know why? Because everything I have right here was from nothing. You took away everything. Everything that is within me, I built myself. There were people around me that supported me and loved me through my darkest times, and they are still there. And they don't need to throw those things from my past in my face because they know what it took to overcome them. So it's only the people that like you at your lowest that want to continue to treat you like that. Maybe they need to evaluate why that is, what their insecurities are about the situation. Let them. Let them get out there and deal with that. That is not your mess anymore, and you are not that person anymore. You keep your peace and you keep your growth. And if you need to burn that bridge entirely, burn that bridge to keep your peace, do it. I absolutely have no need to go back there. I will instead take a sledgehammer to everything right here just to show you that I can do it again. I can do it over and over and over again. And I can do it because you left me in the dark. You left me when I needed you. I was abandoned when I needed people. And so now you've created a monster. Try it again. See what happens. Test me. See what happens. The fault line. There are some situations that are just sketchy. You kind of know them when you're stepping into them. You're like, oh, this isn't going to go well. But yeah, let's give it a chance. Maybe you got curious. You thought you'd investigate the fault line. You thought you'd take a look at it. But what you're discovering is it's just as unstable as you thought it was going to be. Very nice. And at any moment, it's going to crack wide open. Don't let yourself fall into it. That's this sign right here is that you don't have to go there again if you don't want to. Matter of fact, you can kind of take a little bit of responsibility for widening that gap. And it's probably for your best interest. It's in the interest of maintaining your peace, maintaining your sense of bliss and contentment in your life. You eliminated all the dangers, the rocky zones, the scary parts that were unstable because you knew that it just wasn't going to change. And so you stepped back away from that. And you haven't dealt with the rumblings in your life for a long time. So you get up close to this and you go, oh, I don't like this. Well, you're right to not like it. You're not supposed to. It's just a reminder. It's a reminder of how strong you are and what you came through. It's a reminder that what lies around that fault line is the type of instability that made it difficult for you to ever trust. It made it difficult for you to feel love because it was just never consistent. It was always breaking up. You would think you would be good, and then somebody would just shatter it. And there would be these triggers that you didn't even understand. Like, where did that come from? I don't even know what I did. But it wasn't you that was unstable. It was the situation. It was the other people involved. So the smartest thing you did was preserve your own safety, and you decided to step away from it. And for whatever reason, you've approached the situation again, or a similar situation. I'm getting for some of you, this is a situation that just reminds you too much of that experience before. For whatever reason, you decided to investigate and realize that it looks the same. You can smell the sulfur coming up from the crack in the earth. You can feel the instability. You feel the rumbling, and you know at any moment the ground is gonna bust wide open and swallow you whole. It's terrifying to think that could happen again. So this is your validation. Step back. Get back. Run. Find a safe place. Okay, go back to your safe place. You don't need to play this game. This is not a fault line that exists across the entirety of the globe and everyone is forced into it. That's not how it works. You see it and you recognize it for what it is, and you realize that this is absolutely not you anymore. This is you. This person has seen some of the ugliest sides of people, has seen some of the most brutal aspects of humanity up close, has experienced violence, has been abused, has been neglected, has been abandoned, has been treated as though they don't matter at all. And yet you find a beauty in all of that. You find peace in all of that. You find sentimentality. And you're able to use your words and your communication skills. And some of you, I'm getting your voice, you're singing, you're creating art from these dark places that not only help you heal and propel you even farther on this healing journey, but you're taking others with you. You have transmuted all of that energy and everything that you've experienced up into that point into something really, really beautiful, really inspirational to others. And you're able to share it with them in a way that touches them deeply. It's touched you deeply. Somebody out there inspired you. Maybe it was their music, maybe it was their art or their poetry or their book. Maybe it was just the way that they handled themselves in life, and you saw something so incredibly beautiful. You were like, this is art. This is an incredible, this is why I love people. This is why I love our strength, our tenacity, our ability to overcome even the most difficult things and then make art from it and make something beautiful from it. And that art guiding other individuals into their healing place. That is such powerful, powerful energy. You have no idea how powerful you truly are. And you'll get these little teeny glimpses. People will tell you, I'm proud of you. That I'm always impressed by how you deal with things. Man, you just don't stop, do you? You're killing it out here. You're glowing. You look amazing. That's because you're an artist. It's because you took mud and dirt and blood and spit and you created a masterpiece. It's very special skill. I hope these messages have provided you with some clarity and some validation in your journey. And I hope to see you again.